Hello, hello, Andrea Z. I am right there with you. July just kind of got away from me, and I ended up not doing the things I wanted to do in my July journal. So I'm ready for this new month, and I'm so glad that you guys are all here tonight. Welcome, welcome to your August, if you can believe it, setup for your monthly pages. My name is Jennifer Ogilvy. I'm coming to you from the Dallas, Texas area where it is a very, very warm day. We're going to hit a really big high on Thursday. It's going to be 106. I saw we were in the hundreds today, but low hundreds. But my air conditioner's just chugging along, and it's a little warm. Y'all know I'm ready for those burr months. I've been talking about it for a few weeks. So anyway, make sure your chat is set to everyone. This is a cameras off event, a mics off event. Your job is to sit back with that beautiful journal and get ready for a wonderful month of enchantment in your life and figuring out what that looks like. Um, yes, we simmer and shimmer. I love that, Nikki. That's great. Yeah, simmer and shimmer. So, lots of shimmering today. Joining me in as a facilitator tonight, my co-partner, my co-facilitator is Malika. She is in cool California. She was saying, you need to come visit me. But she popped on the camera, she gave you a wave. She'll be in the chat. And so if you need anything along the way, you can ask her, just click on her name and, or host and panelist, or you can raise your hand in the chat. But usually if you have a question, somebody else does too. Now, I would like to know, is this anybody's very first time to come to a social? I want to be sure that we all give you this collective welcome because this is a really, really special community. I believe we were created to be in community with one another, and you will not find a more positive group of people than our wonderful Sonder family, Sonder friends. We are like-minded in that we know how important it is to take care of ourselves so that we can be the best we can be for each other. So, oh, Kat, your first anniversary. Happy Sonderversary. That's kind of fun. I love that. I was gonna say your name is a familiar one. So I know you've been here before. Meredith is here for the first time. Welcome, Meredith. We're glad to have you. We hope that you keep these appointments with yourself, just like the whole group of us do. It helps us have accountability. There's a lot we can do with this journal. Now, you are always invited to use these pages just as they are printed. We have examples to show you at tonight's social. We also have examples from the very imaginative, creative Sonder family on how they have changed some of these trackers to work better in their life. So I've got those things to show you. And there are oftentimes, y'all may not even know, I'll just pop into it into a social. I'm not scheduled to facilitate, and I'm just hanging out, and I read the chat, and I get the positive, good juju from my like-minded friends. So August is National Wellness Month. And so I love how that pairs with our new theme of enchantment. I think that's going to be pretty fabulous. Don't know if you had time to maybe look for three quick words for your August affirmation. I had joyful, productive, and grace, and that just hit perfectly for me. Very serendipitous, with grace for the fact that July didn't quite go the way I wanted it to, and I didn't get things done. So I'm going to be productive, and then of course I love the word joyful. It's just a happy word, and I think it fits beautifully with enchantment. Y'all are just take a deep breath. Those of you who just logged on. Ah, yes, you made it. Take a deep breath, recenter yourself. No rush. We're just so glad you're here among community. And there are the guidelines that we share when we are together because we do create safe spaces. And that's so, So important to our mental wellness. So I know you've seen these many times if you've been at our socials. These are actually the community guidelines that we also use in our app, the Sonder Club. So hopefully you guys are all familiar with them, but we do like to post them as reminders each month. We have some fun facts for August, so you can kind of take a look at some of the fun things. Who are our Leos and our Virgos among us? Let us send you some birthday wishes. August is fun for me. It's my anniversary. It ended up really being a bad month for an anniversary because I was an educator. So, my anniversary, I was always setting up classrooms or getting school ready to go. So it wasn't, we should have gotten in June and just lived apart for the summer. He had a, anyway, but I'll be celebrating my 42nd anniversary this year. Oh, we've got some birthday. Look at these birthdays. Happy birthday, Sonder family. I love all these summer gals. So wonderful. We wish you a happy birthday now and and Alice also has an anniversary. And maybe you've got some special people in your life too, August is a pretty special month for you. It's also National Watermelon Day, and we celebrate our left-handed friends. And there's a Women's Equality Day, so yay, gals. And then I love this graphic 5 days to schedule every month. So let me take this opportunity to invite you to screenshot anything you see tonight, or, I always sit with my phone, take a picture if there's something that speaks to you. And maybe these 5 days might get peppered into your August. Maybe you'll find time to have an unplugged day, a self care day for embracing the wellness of National Wellness Month. A reset day. I love that. I probably could use a reset week. But just kind of getting some things organized. What a great time of year with kind of, even if you're not involved in school, we get that mentality of back to school and this kind of new, like we're ending summer, we're waiting for fall. And so there's this sense of getting ready, right? A learning day. You should do one of those every single month. Embrace a hobby, learn something new, watch YouTube videos and get some new skills, and then just a darn fun day. Just have one day that is set aside for fun. So, and yes, oh, Kate just said, you're set to host some panelists, Kate Vamos. There it is. I love school supplies. Me too. And I still go to Walmart and they have, right inside the door, my little heart does the happy flutters. I'm a retired educator for those of you who may not be aware of that. So I taught kindergarten and then I ran a school for way too long. And this was my shopping time, like, 159 boxes of crayons, bring it. So anyway, so you might want to think about some of those days to schedule in, especially as we think of it through wellness and through enchantment, finding enchantment in our life. Enchantment isn't about magical thinking, it's about being fully present in the world. And I love that quote, and you're going to see it at this setup. You're going to see it in all my monthly setups because my first thought of enchantment is like, fairy godmothers and magical things happening. But truly, when you think about it, when you can be fully present in your world, when you can notice little things, that is where you find enchantment in your life. And I think this is going to be such a fun way to make us slow down and find those moments this month. So we start with Meha's letter because it does set our tone for kind of what we're thinking about with this theme. And I pulled these words. I always do I need new glasses? I think the words have gotten smaller. So I pulled out the words that jumped out to me, and it was sometimes enchantment is found in the most unexpected places, a meaningful conversation, the feeling of sand beneath your feet, or the sound of a song that takes you back to a moment in time. We need to create space for it. I love that because that is action oriented and it's on us to seek that enchantment. We need to ask, where can I slow down? Where can I bring more awareness to my daily routine? It's about finding magic in the imperfections in the pauses, in the little sparks that light up our everyday. So I don't know about you, but I am excited to discover those things. Tonight, we are going to kick off our time together by creating an acrostic poem. And remember, if writing poetry is not your thing, it's okay. I got you. I've got some alternate suggestions. We'll take a look at our July reflections. We're going to set those intentions for August. And you might, if you were here for July, you might want to grab your July journal just so you can flip back through it, but also so you can look at your intentions. Maybe they're not going to change and you're going to bring them forward into this month. Or maybe they ended up not aligning with what life brought you, and you can think about how you can realign for this month. We're also going to set up our mood tracker and our habit tracker, and I have examples to show you to use it as a mood tracker or to repurpose in a number of ways. So, yes, Carla, I have seen the coloring page for August, and it's so pretty and so fun, and I'm already excited about our coloring time. And speaking of, we do have a coloring social every month, and I want to invite you to come. Even if you've tried coloring and you're like, it's really not my thing, come and sit with something quiet, some kind of hobby, something to busy your hands and to still your mind and to be among friends. So when you see the coloring social, know that you are welcome with any little creative moment that you have. Just join our circle. So okay, so our acrostic poem. I'm going to invite you to turn to a blank page. Some months, our acrostic poem is actually printed in the journal, but this is not one of them. So this can be done on a notes page, on one of your scratch pads, on post-it notes, on separate pieces of paper, wherever you do it. Maybe you have a little sidekick journal that for all your extras, because we do covet our notes pages. I think we all wish there were like 40 more every month. And we're just going to create an acrostic poem using the word enchantment. And we encourage you to maybe brainstorm a list. Someone just said if you use the Life Coach app, Jenny, and ask her, knowing what you know about me, help me write a acrostic poem with the theme of enchantment. And you will be surprised how that will plug in perfectly. So really you can do that. You can do one sentence, you can do one set of words, you can put enchantment down the middle of your page and just put words, let the E be, the E in enchantment. Maybe it's the middle of a word. It's really up to you. There's not a right or wrong way, and I'm not a language arts teacher, so I won't be grading these. This is up to you. So this is what your page might look like, or maybe you have it down the middle and you'll do that. Oh, Reverend Joy Ellen's got some new acrylic pens tonight. That's kind of fun. We've got some great examples. I laughed. I worked with Katie last night. She was the first monthly setup, and so I was in the chat saying, please post your poems so that we can share them tonight. So we had some people go before and pave the way. So here's a couple of examples. We have some synonyms for enchanting with the little pigeons up there. So if enchantment's not your jam, maybe you decide to do charming or glamorous. Maybe another word is speaking to you. Some wonderful examples from our Sonder family from last night. You can see there's kind of sentences or just one word per letter. And I love this one. This one was about kind of saying goodbye to summer and what those feelings of August look like. I thought it was so good. Enchantment in the last of summer. Neighbors are outside. Cold popsicles are the best. Have you painted your outdoor furniture? That might be on the to-do list. So I love that. You could also change your acrostic up to welcome in August, like the poem you see on the right. I'll go through all of these slides while you're working in this space. And if you're not really feeling an acrostic poem, another way to open up and welcome this new month is maybe creating a haiku about August, about summer, about enchantment. You might want to work on your definition page, which is, I think, is that page 3, there is my example, right there at the bottom. Yes, it's page 3. And I don't really do a definition of enchantment. I just kind of create these word clouds and I add to them as the month goes on. So perhaps that's how you would like to get your brain moving in the direction of enchantment. Or you could also write a goodbye note to July and a welcome note to August, like you see the example from May and June there. So let me put on some music and go back through these slides while you work on it. I see we've already got some sharing in the chat. Nachos and tacos. I love that, Nikki. And then if you'll look in the chat, you'll see Carla talked to Jenny to create a poem for her life, and she shared that with us. So let us know what comes up for you. All right. Very, very good work. There are some really great poems dropped in the chat, but I also know that there's really great poems that are on your pages. So thank you for kind of getting in the mindset. I do love the movie Enchanted and that so the music's going to show up. I'm just going to, unabashedly say I'm a Disney gal, not as much as our facilitator Bailey, but I love the movies. I love musicals. So my music's gonna be very enchanting this month. And as I was sitting here reading through y'all's acrostic poems, you really inspired me. And I realized, July was kind of a tough month for us. And if you came to my weekly setups, you knew that we were waiting. My sister-in-law was on hospice, and then we lost her, and then we had the funeral, and we're okay. We were expecting it, but it was just a tough month. And I feel like I was a little kind of getting a little cynical, just like grumpy and meh. And so I'm loving that I'm going to get this reset built in to my wonderful journal. If it weren't for Silk and Sonder, it always hits at just the right time. So good job. Good getting that brain going into our brand new theme. Let's turn to page 8 now. And on that page in your brand new journal, we're going to take a few minutes to look at the month of July. We're going to look at the wins, the challenges. I just shared some of our family's challenges with y'all. And then of course those favorite moments. And I like to work on those three things first, and then we'll take a little bit of time to look at what do we want to start, stop, and continue? What did July bring us, and what do we want to carry forward? What do we need to stop and start and continue? So of course, we're going to look at those wins, and I'm going to invite you always go look at those rosebud thorn reflections that you did week to week. Grab your phone because a picture is tells a story, and there's a reason you have some of those pictures from July in your phone. Maybe it's screenshots of bills that you had trouble with, or but there's pictures there, images that will help you reflect over your past month. I often say I will look at my credit card statement. Sometimes that helps me remember, especially the challenges. Uh, so kind of go through all of those things, fill this out, celebrate your wins, and celebrate the challenges because you've gotten through them or you've figured out how to live with them. And that's worth celebrating. It's all good. So I'm going to put on some music so you have time to do that. I'll come back in and we'll approach the section on the bottom. So let's just work on this top part first. Feel free to share in the chat the things that come up for you. Let us celebrate wins together, and we will just like hold space for one another with those things that were challenging. All right. Continue to work on this. Thank you for sharing in the chat for those of you who had time to pop that in. I laughed. I was going through my photo roll and I realized, oh, I got a new vacuum cleaner. That was a win. I never thought I would look at a vacuum cleaner as a win, but it's a good one. So that was one of my July wins that I'd forgotten about. So we're gonna drop down to that bottom space. What do you want to start, stop, and continue? So think about there might be a thing that you've been waiting on to start, and this is the month. Let's get that going, right? Think about that. Maybe something you want to try. And then of course, what do you need to eliminate from your life? What needs to go away because it's not serving you? And I was really proud. Let me scroll back up through the challenge through our chat, and Nikki shared, historically she escapes into unhealthy habits and behaviors, but the journal is helping her work through that. So that's a I love hearing that, and thank you for sharing. That was really from the heart, and we appreciate that, Nikki, because you remind us that we're not alone with those things. And so, perhaps this space could be where some of that gets going, right? Where you stop things and you start things to better serve yourself. So, thank you for sharing that. And then, of course, the stuff you're really proud of that you want to keep on doing. Let's continue that through. Now, you could also use this space as a single area of growth. Maybe, find a kind of a category of your life that you want to work on. There's some suggestions there. Maybe there's a relationship that you want to work on. And so these three boxes are going to be all about that particular relationship. It's really about taking what you need. Let me show you some examples because some folks have kind of reframed these spaces or they've added to it. And so they're looking at the things they want to start, stop, and continue, but they're also answering the question, why do I want to do that? So really being mindful of the reason behind what you're writing. And then how? So how is this going to happen? And so they're starting that step forward, right? They're putting into place some things that can then be taken into their weekly setups, to make sure that that how is supporting your stop, start, and continue. So we ask yourself, what is it? Why is this important to me? And how am I going to get this going? Some more examples. This is kind of neat. Like, who do I want to be? That's in that first space. And then, what will I have then? And what do I have to do to get there? So the one on the bottom there, what do I want to start and how am I going to do it and why am I going to do it? So those three spaces are dedicated to one thing. And then we can also repurpose this space to really embrace, how am I feeling about something? And what is the reason that's driving those feelings? I feel this because of this, and I want to feel, and you put that in, you plug that in, and then that gives you that starting point to have like this compass guiding you through the month. So let's work on this section and then we will get going with the next space. Kimberly L., thank you for that call out about you want to just start saying, I tried my best rather than always seeking that perfection. That is such a good reminder to every one of us. I tried my best. And literally do that breaking up with perfect, which is what Silk and Sonder is all about. So let's look at our intentions now. What are we wanting to embrace for this new month of August? We're going to be on page 9. We have these categories of spiritual health, personal life, physical health, key relationships, money management, personal goals. You're invited to set an intention for each one of these spaces if that's what you need. But also a reminder, maybe this is the month that you need to focus on maybe 3 or 4 of them and not do all 6. That's okay. Also, a reminder that these can be renamed depending on what you need. I don't this Silk and Sonder facilitation is like my retirement gig. So my professional goals have actually changed to learning goals. And a lot of the stuff I do to embrace my learning every month is, TED Talks or self-improvement books that will help me be a good facilitator, but also help me work on me. So I changed that professional goal up to better meet what I need each month. Um, if you look at the graphic there on the right, those are some other, there's intellectual, occupational, financial, ecological. That's one that's a little different. Emotional, spiritual, social, and physical. And I pulled this graphic from some National Wellness Month information. So perhaps one of those will speak to you if you're looking to repurpose or redesign a space. Let's look at, some ways to set this up. You all have some amazing ideas. So grab some screenshots to share with you, but you can, always use a song or lyrics, a quote, a mantra. Maybe there are some affirmations that will fit around each one of these categories. You can just do stickers. You can draw and doodle. You can do a duality practice, like one thing you want to let go of and one thing you want to bring into, or something you want more of and less of within each one of these categories. Let's take a look at what those will look like. Now, we have a lot of fun things in the month of August. So perhaps some of these national months of will inform an area or two of your intentions. Go get your eyes examined if you haven't done that. Maybe that goes under your physical health, that you're going to make some appointments that you've been putting off. So you know what you need. And here are some great examples of and how different everybody's pages will look. You take what you did. Yes, tried your best. There you go, Kimberly. Now, I noticed last night when I was in the chat with the folks who were there for setup, there were a couple of questions about, I find myself going strong through the month until I hit like mid-month. And then I sort of, I quit checking in with the trackers and I quit looking at my intentions and all that kind of stuff. And so there was some really robust discussion on ways to keep utilizing this tool the best you can. And I just shared, some months, some weeks, some days, I am all in. Everything gets checked, marked, dotted. The T's are crossed, and other days I do neglect my journal, but maybe there's something else going on in life. So no one's grading this. You take what you need on a given day, but I did want to address the idea of you can see that example in the upper middle. There is one word for each one of the intentions areas, okay? And then they took that one word and they plugged it into their mood tracker. They've repurposed their mood tracker as an intentions tracker to do a daily check in and make sure that they are honoring the intentions on a daily basis that they set for their life. So that's a suggestion to do. If you feel like I go really great for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, and then I kind of fall off the wagon, use those trackers for accountability and those check ins. So you'll notice the one on the upper right, there's some great quotes there to set and frame out those intentions. And instead of having a money management space, this person is having a mind management space. I kind of like that. That actually is better than learning goals, I think. I might have to take that one. We've got some little post-it notes flipping up or little pieces of paper so you can see this person is setting their intentions and then they are supporting those intentions with a scripture. This could be a scripture, this could be favorite mantras, this could be an affirmation that supports whatever your intention is. The one on the right, look at those categories. They're all changed up to better meet what this person needed in their life. So, empowered choices, self expression, freedom to explore, strength in resilience, skill expansion, and embrace solitude. I love, wow, talk about some work. This person is putting in that work with those categories. Stickers wanna be stuck, so put that sticker. Oh, thank you, Heather, for putting that in there because that really spoke, and I wanted to make sure that I shared it with as many people as I could. Stickers want to be stuck. So this person put stickers on their page and actually in posting said that sometimes words don't come. I'm just not getting words and just found some stickers to sort of support that feeling. And yes, Kimberly L, the one in the middle is so just so special and so sweet. Little doodles and I just wanted to share that one with you. I wish it were mine. Mine are so plain. Maybe that needs to be something I do. Look at the one on the bottom left. It's, what do I want more of and what do I want less of? And then you can see spiritual health has been changed to home life. So really embracing the home by letting go. They want more letting go and less clutter. And so we can see how that's going to drive some goals, some habits, some activities, some setting up to-do list for the month. And then, of course, when you can put your statements into an intention, like a daily affirmation, I will fill in the blank. I can, I intend to, I am. Using those I statements are a very powerful way of completing your setting these intentions for the month. And then we had the theme of connect months and months and months ago. And so someone used that connection for how they set their intentions up. So maybe you want to find enchantment in these life areas and you use that theme. And speaking of enchantment, how about becoming a fortune teller and just drawing some little magic crystal balls with your intentions. And there's not really categories. It's just kind of some things that they want to manifest for the month. And so that's how they set that up. I predict assertive communication. There will be yin yoga. My future contains gentle self talk. So beautiful way of setting that up. So I loved the magic balls, and so I thought, oh, that's fun for enchantment. And then the example on the left, um, really embracing how they want to feel in each area. So they put, how do I want to feel? They put that word, and then what am I going to work on? And what are the habits that I want to do? So there are some great examples for you. Let me put on some music while you work on this space, and I'll go back through these slides. If you saw something that you are maybe considering or you'd like to just kind of have in your library, be sure to grab a screenshot because you may not be ready to use something now, but you may want to think about it, later in the future. All right. So you've got your intentions done. And I shared last night, I used to get very bogged down with these. And so I find like the fewer words, the better. That's what, just kind of helped me most of all. I did want to shout out Kimberly. Elsa, does everyone know about the how-to section? If you go to your into Sonder Club, you can get journal inspiration and how-tos. And it looks kind of like right there, the how-to. And if you click on it, it's going to give you all these, how to set things up, little videos, but also all the categories to look at: mood trackers, habit trackers, coloring page, notes, all this inspiration. So, a great shout out, Kimberly. Thank you for doing that. So now let's get these trackers done for the month, and then we can go about our business. We're going to be on page 10 to look at that mood tracker. Of course, this tracker, when used as a mood tracker, can help you see trends and how you're feeling, and when you start seeing those trends, you can make shifts. What's put me in a bad mood? And you can, when you know that that's coming, you get tools in your toolbox to help reshape that. Or maybe you have like a wake up call when you're like, I see that the 5 days that I'm at work, I'm not so happy, and maybe I need to start thinking about a different vocation or a different place to be. So I love the information that can be gathered from this mood tracker. Now, I don't use a mood tracker, not anymore. I sure needed this about 10 years ago. But I'm retired. I don't track my moods. I use mine for a book tracker usually. But we have two forms, and so just so you don't get thrown off if you're brand new, the months that have 31 days have this circular shape like you have this month, but you may see this hexagon one. I don't want you to get thrown off, and some of our examples may be the hexagon one. So you can use either one works. We have people who prefer one or the other, and we have people who really don't care. They just are grateful to have that tracker. So this is our feelings wheel, and we encourage you to use this when you are doing filling in your mood tracker. And a great place to start is to choose like two or three positive feelings, then maybe a neutral feeling, and then two or three, not so great feelings. So maybe you're tracking, anger or sadness for those. And you start in the middle with those basic six feelings that are there. And then you can see the pie shape, that the pieces of pie that come out really start honing in on, feelings that fall under the category of fear, or feelings that encapsulate love. And so you could get more specific with your feeling and with the words that you'd like to use. So here is an example of someone who they're tracking those basic six, but they put in the middle of their tracker some of those other words that they may be defaulting to, so they can, kind of categorize how they're feeling. So they directly incorporated this information from this tracker wheel. And I'll go back to this when you're working on this page. Here's one that has been completed. You can see that, folks, there's a couple of stickers for some days. It's like they're looking at what was the overriding feeling for the day, the overriding mood, and that is what's going in that tracker. Can you see how they've outlined the weekends there? So that's again another really great way of seeing trends when certain feelings and moods come up. So all of their weekends are have lines drawn around it, so they can differentiate between the weekdays and weekends. And then we have some other examples. The one on the bottom right is doing a morning and PM check-in with their moods. So kind of checking in twice, how am I starting my day and how did it end? And then we have a lot of ways of repurposing this tracker. And so here's some fun examples. Here's a couple of mood booster trackers. So like if I'm feeling down, what do I need? And here's like a menu to choose from. And then you can track, what your default go-to was for that particular day. So we've got reading, time with friends, Sonder Social, snuggle with a fur baby, spending time with a loved one, emotional support coffee. I love that one. Taking a nap, taking a walk, worship music, fellowship, riding a bike. So, what are the few things that really will boost your moods? This is a great repurpose for this tracker. Here are a list of ways that we've seen folks do it: their step tracker, their workout tracker, activity tracker. Some examples along the bottom there. And then we've got physical care tracker there. The one over on the right is the manifest happiness tracker. So just like all these things I can do to connect and just bring happiness toward me. So compliment someone, get creative, make connections, smile, enjoy something, and a little self-care there. So let's work on this and then we'll come back and do our habit tracker. Let us know what you're going to do here. And yeah, if you have some questions like, I'm not really sure what to track, and maybe here's what I want to start, stop, and continue, maybe Sonder Family can help you set that up. All righty, now it is time for us to take a look at our wonderful habit tracker. This is my favorite tracker in the journal, even though I didn't do such a hot job in July. But August is a new month, right? So look at page 11. This is that tracker that you want to put the things that you want to happen most days of the month in this tracker. This is a great place to put new habits or to put habits that you want to stop doing, as well as the things that you've been doing that are successful that you want to continue to do. Give yourself a couple of wins by putting those things in here. And this would align great with your start, stop, and continue spaces that you worked on earlier. So are there habits you can draw from there for to put into this tracker? So of course, we're excited about using enchantment. Maybe this tracker aligns with your intentions, like we had mentioned earlier. Instead of using the mood tracker for your intentions, you put your intentions on this tracker. You can always pick a theme if you're working on something in your life. I've got a great example of a theme that somebody shared. If and this doesn't have to be all new. If you've got things going from last month and you're still working on them, bring them over. Don't put all new, fresh things here unless this is your very first journal. Then this is your first time to track habits. But I'm going to suggest giving yourself a couple of wins. Put things that you're going to be doing anyway. It makes you turn to that page and check it off, and then you see those other things that you're deciding that you want to do. You don't have to fill in every one of these lines. Maybe you only need to track 3 things this month. Here's some beautiful trackers. Some folks love to draw a mandala and then color in each day. That some folks is not me. I'm a plain black check girl. The one on the right, remember how we did our mood tracker and we're tracking our weekends. You can also denote what your weekends are, or maybe denote what your work days are. If especially if you work different schedules, and maybe there's travel days, so you draw lines around that and make a notation around the outside of your tracker, because we have to remember to give ourselves grace. Maybe we're not going to do something on some days because we're not home. This one on the left is one of my old ones where I tracked, my steps, and I did a financial affirmation. I was writing a daily financial affirmation. A lot of times it would be the Silk and Sonder affirmation, but I would change it up to align with finances. And then, I wanted social connection. So I tracked by writing the initials of the person that I either texted or phoned or made a call to. And then look what someone else is doing over there on the right. So you could have a theme for this habit tracker. And this is a symptom tracker, and they're checking in with themselves every day to see if they've had any of these symptoms. And wow, what a great place to collect this data. This month, I used it for my good night routine. And y'all know, if you've been with me, I'm a terrible good night person, and I don't go to bed when I need to go to bed. And I did really great for about 2 weeks, and then we traveled and funerals and all that, and I stopped. So I'll probably go back to that PM routine, that all the habits there for my nighttime routine, because I have the slide at the bottom. There's our habit and activity tracker from the week. And so I can put the things I want to other things I want to happen in that tracker. Or you can also take what's in this round tracker, put it in your weekly, or take maybe the things you're having trouble with, like bed by 11. Maybe I keep that habit tracker as it is, but I also add bed by 11 in the weekly one. So I'm getting a double dip of accountability. It's really, again, taking what you need. If you miss some days, it's okay. Write yourself a note, grace, because we will miss days. That's all right. And then notice the one on the right, they just wrote they had some days that they were overwhelmed and they're blank, but that is telling a story. Those blank spaces are also part of your story. So celebrate them, embrace them, and see what you need to learn from them. Couple more examples where you don't have to fill them all out. There's 4 things that this person on the right is tracking, and I love the little hearts, but they are acknowledging every month, or I mean every day of the month, they are acknowledging that day. So it either gets a heart or a dash. So they're checking in with that habit tracker and celebrating those hearts. And then the one on the left aligns with your wheel of life. So if you are working on areas of your wheel of life from this past month, they could go somewhere on this habit tracker so that you can maybe bring up some of those scores. And now if you are coaching with Jenny, you can go onto that app and update your wheel of life as often as you want, and you get the data trends all in one place. So that's kind of cool. See how the special days on the right are denoted holidays and weekends. So, again, I think that's very important. Here are some habit tracker inspiration ideas for you. Let's work on that. And then I have some fun things. I've got some tea to share. So, you might want to hang out for the very end so I can share some stuff from Silk and Sonder with you. All right, let us know what you're tracking here. Alrighty. I love the call out that Robbie dropped in the chat that on the days that something doesn't happen, there are hearts drawn in to that tracker to remind Robbie to give themselves plenty of grace. We would love to see your setup in Sonder Club. You saw some great examples from our community, so we would love to see yours. So please share in Sonder Club, always as you are comfortable. And then I've got some tea for y'all about Silk and Sonder. We've got some fun stuff to share with you this evening, and that is probably my new favorite graphic right there. Verbal or herbal? Herbal or verbal? We've got a 14-day trial going on for you to give the AI coach a try and see what you think. You'll do the entire intake process, and then you will be able to utilize the personal coaching for 14 days. Malika is dropping the link in the chat, so grab that if you've been waiting and trying to figure out. Now's the time to do it. Don't forget that the app has a ton of content that can, just like Kimberly was saying, those inspiration pages. Go check that out. There's a content library filled with things to grab. And then also you can see that mood and habit tracker example there. On top of that is the phone with Jenny pulled up because she can help you with the habits, with the things that you're wanting to work on. A new feature that is coming with our personal coach, our lifestylist, is creating your life as a movie. And I think that's pretty fun. Our founder Meha's movie would be called The Visionary Hustle, a West Coast story. So that's something that is coming, a new thing there, as well as that new feature. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, being able to update your wheel of life and keep that current, and it collects your trends so you can really watch your trends. If you regularly do your Wheel of Life check in, enter those numbers, you're going to get that data that will really, really help you see what's been going on in your life. So that's coming. So we've got some exciting, exciting things, as well as text to speech, which is really great, especially sometimes we're busy. You can talk while you're doing the dishes and getting your life coaching on. So that's new. And finally, I get to do an exclusive this month about rewriting our fairy tales, and I'm very excited. So there's a nominal fee. Again, Malika's dropping links in the chat. This can also be found on the Eventbrite page for Silk and Sonder. So I would love to see you there for that. It's going to be a very joy-filled event. And finally, there is my playlist for this evening. And we are just really, really so glad that you joined us. See you later, Soccer fans.